Hi guys, welcome to another week of Bree's Book Reviews. Thanks so much for joining me again. Once again this week I have 10 books that I'm going to review for you so you can know just what's out there for your own reading. Please like, subscribe, and comment on this video. I love hearing from you guys and all of your recommendations and what you guys are currently reading that you're loving. Be sure to turn on the bell for notifications about when I drop a new video, and feel free to share with the reader in your life. And we'll just hop right into it. So the first book is Red Notice by Bill Browder. Have you ever had an interest in Russian finance and corruption? No, neither did I until I read this book. This is a nonfiction, real-life account from Bill Browder as he enters the world of Russian finances at its peak, all the way to him pretty much being banned from the country. It's an incredible read. Like I said, it's nonfiction. It reads like a suspense book in the sense that you never know what twists and turns the book is going to take, and you never know who's going to be wrongfully imprisoned or killed until you're reading about it. And it's so impactful because everything that happened in this book happened to someone out there. The people in this book are real people with real families, and the supporters of Bill Browder uncovering the financial corruption in Russia is just absolutely incredible. Like how he found the strength to do it, the team he got to stand with him, and the people that they lost. So just a really impactful read. What I love about it is, with a lot of nonfiction books, it does come with photos and about the center of the book that you can flip through and get associated with, which for me, it helps me connect with the people I'm reading about, because it's one thing to know that the people in this book are real people and had real families and really strived to make the world a better place for everyone. And it's another to see them in print, and see the family members that they left behind once they were dead and having to live without them. So super great. It takes you all the way from the beginning of Bill Browder's life. His grandfather was actually the #1 American communist way back when, and at one point even ran for United States presidency under the communist flag. So it starts at the very beginning of Bill Browder's life, how he got into finances, overseas, and what led him to understanding just how corrupt the Russian financial system had become. So it's an absolutely great, in-depth book about history, and if you have no interest in finance, you will after reading this book. Super great read. Next, we're going to talk about a cozy mystery by Joanna Fluke. One could argue that she is kind of like the mother of cozy mysteries that come with recipes. She was one of the first authors to do this with her books. And the crazy thing is that all her recipes work. I've tested a few out from various books in the series. As an author, she tests them out. So when you're making a recipe from this mystery book, you're in for a great treat because it'll work. And this series focuses on a young baker named Hannah Swinson in a very small town in Michigan, and all the shenanigans she gets up to with discovering just who is committing all these crimes in her small town. So super great. Some of these books have even been turned into Hallmark mystery movies, and it's a long series, so if you're looking for something that can carry you throughout an entire year, this series has over 30 in it, ranging from every time of year, 4th of July, Christmas, weddings, to good old classics like chocolate chip cookies. So 10 out of 10, definitely recommend. The third book, I'm actually going to set aside. This is my favorite in the stack, and so like always, I'm just going to go ahead and review this last. That way we can really get into what makes it great and why it's my favorite of this week's bunch. The next book I'm going to review is Mort by Terry Pratchett. This is the 4th book in the Discworld series. Now, if you're familiar with fantasy works, you've probably heard of Terry Pratchett and Discworld. He is an incredibly famous fantasy author. His books have sold over 80 million copies worldwide. So just absolutely phenomenal as an author. He's got a really unique way of writing the Discworld series. For starters, what is the Discworld? The Discworld is a flat world that is in the shape of a disc that bounces on the backs of 4 elephants that are bounced on the shell of a giant space tortoise as it moves through this universe. That's what the Discworld is. And what's interesting is you can read the series in any order. You can pick up any book and go from there. This is the 4th book in the series. This is the one I started with. And another interesting thing about the Discworld series is most fans will tell you, do not start with the first book. It's like one of the first publications Terry Pratchett ever wrote. So it's a little rough around the edges. He's still like finding his voice as a fantasy author. But this was a phenomenal read, and if you're interested in getting into the Discworld series, but you're just not sure where to start, Mort is absolutely great. Like I said, he's got a really unique writing style. There are no chapters in this book. You start it, and then you just feel like you have to finish because there is no good stopping point. Very bingeable. But yeah, super great. Would recommend. I'm sure many of you have heard about Terry Pratchett, but just throw them out there again for you. The Magic Misfits by Patrick Neil Harris is one in a series of 4 books written by Patrick Neil Harris. Now, some of you may know Patrick Neil Harris because he is an actual magician and he's also an actor. He starred in the original Doogie Howser MD TV show that was on in the 90s, and he's done a variety of things since then. But this is a series that he wrote for kids, and it is so magical. It has mystery, it has puzzles, it has legit parts of the book where it'll sit down and teach you how to do magic tricks from the book. So if you've ever wanted to pull a coin out of your friend's ear or do the "is this your card" trick, these books will show you how. And it'll work because he himself is an actual real life magician. But more than that, these books are just perfect. The pictures are very artistic. You're going to want to pay attention to the chapter headings because these correspond with codes you can find in the back of the book. So you'll be solving puzzles as you read the series, helping the group that titles themselves the Magic Misfits uncover mysteries that they never imagined they would. And it all begins with this blonde boy named Carter in the first book. So would definitely recommend. Absolutely great for young readers. But if you're older, like I reread this all the time, I would say don't let age stop you from enjoying reading. You know, it's okay to pick up a book that might be below your level and just have fun with it. Next is My Love Mix-Up. This is a manga. I've introduced manga to you guys before. This one is just really cute. Now, I will say this one's not for everyone. I've shown a couple of mangas and manhwas and graphic novels that pretty much any reader can pick up and enjoy. This one's kind of niche. This is BL, or Boys Love or Yao. So this takes place with 2 young men in high school falling in love with each other in just the funniest of ways. Like, this young man borrows an eraser from a classmate who he has a crush on, a young girl, and there's a name written on it that's her crush, because apparently in this book that's like a very common thing in like Japanese school culture, is you write your crush's name on your eraser, and by the time the eraser is gone, you and your crush are together. But anyway, the main character is trying to protect his crush from what he thinks her crush is from finding out about the eraser, and it just turns into this wonderfully funny love mix-up. Like I said though, this book is definitely not for everyone, and I understand that everybody's got their own preferences when it comes to romance, but this is definitely more soft BL, so if you're looking for something to just get you started in the genre that's not going to have any crazy sex scenes. Like, there's no sex in this at all. It's very PG, and it just gives you the warm and fuzzies of high school puppy love. And the artwork is hilarious. Like, look at his face. So that's another really good one. We're gonna move on to the School of Fear. This is a part of a trilogy. This book has kind of like almost a noir feel to it, but in such a fun way. It's about this group of 4 kids who have legit phobias that their parents just can't cope with in their daily life, so they ship them off to the School of Fear to cure them. And when I say the family can't cope with it, there's this one boy who has a fear of death and dying, and he will message his family, like text message them and be like, "Are you alive?" And sometimes his family will text back, like his older siblings will text back, "No." And he'll like freak out about it thinking that they're dead, even though they sent the text message. So this is a super fun book. What's really interesting is at the beginning of each chapter, it gives you a new fear. So this one is optophobia, the fear of opening one's eyes. And as you can see by the artwork, it's just very noir, line work, you know. It kind of gives you the shivers, even though the book is supposed to teach you about overcoming your fears. So this is another really great one for young readers. What's nice about this is it's a good, what I'd call like beginning series, because it's so short, but it's so interesting that if you have someone in your life, like a kid, niece, nephew, cousin, that wants to get into reading but just isn't sure where to start, this is a great introductory book into reading. If people are looking for something actually spooky and scary, this is not that book, but still very good. Next, we're going to talk about the Happy Ever After playlist. What is cuter than 2 people finding love? 2 people finding love because the man's dog jumps into the moving vehicle of the woman. It takes you through loving and losing the love that you had, as well as coming to terms with that grief and moving forward towards new love and new horizons. The book talks about coming into yourself as a young adult, and it talks about keeping yourself and your personality and your hopes and dreams while developing a serious relationship with another person, because it can be a hard time bouncing. It's also got some pretty great music choices in here. Some of them are pretty indie, but overall, really great read. Nothing too serious. It is pretty light, so if you're just looking for something to carry you through that long work week, this is a great one to start with. Next, many of you have probably seen this book. It is pretty popular, though I'm not sure if you've seen this cover, since this is like one of the original covers before it got popular. But Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins. Really great book. It's a little unrealistic how some of the teenagers and the relationships are written, but overall it is a very fun read, and some things are very relatable. Like the main character, Anna, dyes a streak of her hair blonde, and some mean girls start calling her a skunk, which is very relatable and could happen in real life. But very well written. This is actually not my least favorite book by Stephanie Perkins, but not my favorite. She's got another one that I will introduce in a later week. But that one is absolutely phenomenal. This one is a good-ish read. It's just, you're reading it and sometimes you feel like depth of character is missing. But overall, it is really good, and I totally understand why it's been recommended on like TikTok and everything like that. She is a very talented author, so just be a little wary about like character development and stuff going into this read. Our second to last book is actually kind of a different book. This is a how-to book on embroidery. The author for this book specifically focused on astrology or zodiac symbols. What I like about books like these is it's great no matter what level you're at in the craft. Like, I learned how to embroider when I was 8 years old. I took a break from it for a few years and I've only recently started to pick it back up. So there are definitely some stitches that I remember how to do, but there are others that are just forgotten to time. So books like this are really nice because it'll show you how to do a variety of stitches. Some of them I didn't even know existed, like this woven star stitch. But then it also gives you like pattern ideas and designs, and then you have traceable patterns in the back of the book. So you'll be able to trace these on your paper or your fabric, sorry, not paper, and then embroider them in the hoop and have it turn out really well. It also gives you what type of stitch you should be using for the specific pattern, as well as the number. In embroidery, your floss, which is what the thread is called, companies will number the floss so you know like which color you're using, so if you have to order more you can. This book will even tell you which colors they used for these designs. You can obviously switch them out and use your own, but this is just a great starting point. Like I said, it's great if you're an expert, it's great if you're a beginner just starting out. This will take you through everything, all the supplies you need, the different types of hoops and techniques, the stitching, the patterns, transferring patterns to fabric if you don't want to trace. This book will cover it all. And you can find books like this out there. Like I said, this one is specifically about astrology because that's something I enjoy learning about. But you can get them on florals, you can get country style, you can get them on other crafts. I've seen them with crochet, with knitting, with cross stitch, soap making even. So whatever craft strikes your fancy, I would recommend getting a book like this that'll just take you through something beginning to end so you don't feel overwhelmed by starting a new project or learning a new craft. And then the last book is Witch Please. This is a modern magic book, meaning it takes place in the modern world, but it does have witches, obviously. It's very satirical in the sense that there are a lot of like family dynamics and political cliches that are brought up in the book that are kind of made fun of in like the best sense of the word. Like there is like a witch government with like a rotating council member. So super great. This is part of a series of 3. The first 2 focus on cousins and the third is about a member of their coven. What I like about these books is it's very accepting of the world around us. There are characters who are gay, there are characters who are lesbian, there are characters who are virgins, which is kind of a hot topic right now in today's world. But it ties all of it in absolutely beautifully in the most non-judgmental, accepting town that the author has crafted, while giving you that magic. You know, they're performing spells, they're accidentally lighting curtains on fire. There's a fat cat who just won't stay away from the main character of this book, Danica, which is unfortunate for her because she is super allergic despite being a witch. So it's just an absolutely wonderful book, and it's a wonderful trilogy, and I would definitely recommend checking this out if you are in the mood for something just a little bit magical. Well, that's it for this week, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll be back next week with another video. Be sure, like I said before, like, subscribe, definitely comment. I'm interested in hearing what you guys are reading, what you guys love to read, and what books you'd love to see me review. If you want more of one genre, let me know. Be sure to turn on the bell so you get notified when I drop new videos. And definitely share with the reader in your life. You know, I keep the channel pretty kid-friendly, so I feel like this is suitable for all ages. Thanks, bye.